Undisputed, the Mexican Monster Pack out now.
Boxing King Media, we're back here in Johnny Nelson's beautiful farmhouse. Farmhouse is the word. It's not a house, it's not a bungalow, it's a farmhouse, isn't it?
It's slaughterhouse.
Did it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
No way.
Where the cows are in here. So you're probably in a dead spot where a cow was.
No way. You see, I've been here that many times, you've never told me about that. So it's full on slaughterhouse. Well, how long ago?
That was a farmhouse. This was where they slaughtered the cows. There's a horse buried somewhere in that corner up there. I found this out once I got it. So I knew this was always a slaughterhouse. So that's why we just called it. Well, it's a barn. You know, they come and slaughter the cows here in the barn.
Jeez, there's going to be a lot of people commenting on that now. A slaughterhouse. That's mad. That. I take there's nothing spooky about it then.
No, you know what? You don't know if you're frightened. That's the Jamaican saying for a ghost will always frighten who he thinks will be scared of it. So that sort of stuff doesn't scare me.
Good stuff. There's a few people complaining about Jeffrey's weight on the last video. I even had some people sending me advice and can you pass this on to Johnny about his dog? He needs to put him on this diet or reduce his weight by X amount of kilos, etc., etc.
Well, they spoke and I listened. He's been on the diet since last week, so he's just. I give him some dry food. I give him the meat, so now I've just switched it a little bit of dry food, a lot more meat. You can see his waist now, his little bodybuilder waist coming together. So 4 weeks time, we'll see a slim, trim G-star. But every time you come, he sits between us, doesn't he? He's like, get me in. So he's my little baby, man.
He loves being on the camera and letting us smell his farts. But yeah, he's a good little character. So let's jump into the boxing, Johnny. So I know you was with Carl Froch yesterday, so you spoke in detail about Itauma's win. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to briefly touch on that. So the main talking point I want to ask you is a lot of people are saying, and I've seen this in a lot of interviews, Dillian Whyte was shot. It was past it, and I feel like it's maybe taking the shine off Moses' win. You know, the facts tell us it was almost a career best weight, visibly career best shape. But obviously some people are saying he's shot, his punch resistance has gone, etc. But we've seen him hurt before. So you tell me, what did you make of that? Are they taking the limelight away from Moses, or is Dillian Whyte done?
Timing is everything. And Dillian Whyte, 37 years old. Yes, you can't say the fact he's 37 because Usyk's 37. You got man at 37, and they're fresh. They've got a lot more ring miles left in them. For Dillian. He's not the Dillian he was, clearly. And certain styles suit certain ages. So as a young man, I suppose Daniel Dubois' style would suit a man in his 20s. Let me see him doing that style when he's in his 30s, when he's a little bit slower. You look at people like Sonny Liston, look at people like Rocky Marciano, you look at people like that they've got a certain style that suits a young man. Mike Tyson's style suited a young man, but when you get to a certain age, it slows down, so your reactions, your speed slows. So for Dillian at 37, his style didn't suit coming up against a young, hungry athlete. So they're bobbing and weaving, they're ducking and diving, regardless of how old he is. He's not going to be as sharp. His timing, his twitch time is not going to be as on point because he's gotten older. Things are slowed down. That's nature. And so, as I said, time is everything. I think Moses, 20 years old, and what impressed me about him was his calm. Because you can take away the shine of success by saying, well, Dillian's shot, he's not the fighter he was. Correct. He's 37, correct. So he's the older man, correct. But you can't take away the one thing what Moses had was his calm. That calm he had when he had Dillian, kept him at range, sharp jab. The first jab Dillian threw, watch it, Dillian let the jab go, and then Moses, boom, threw one out, hit him, and had time to still slip Dillian's jab. That showed he had the speed, and Dillian would have thought, damn, boy, this boy's faster than what I thought. Then bap, 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 3 shots, damn. Then all of a sudden, you're getting triggered left, right, and centre. So he knew he was up against a young man that was fast, sharp on it. So he had to try and weather that storm. So now Dillian's backing up because thinking, I've got to somehow navigate this guy's speed and his strength. Moses was, I think it was a pound heavier than Dillian. And that was it. But what I'm saying, so naturally he was stronger, naturally he was bigger, naturally he was younger. So timing was everything. And so for Moses, what impressed me was we probably didn't see enough of the boxing IQ. What impressed me was his patience, his time, and his understanding of what was in front of him, what he was capable of doing, and he didn't get giddy, didn't get excited, didn't lose his focus. And so that to me, told me a lot about the fighter he can be moving forward.
Should Dillian carry on?
I don't think he should. Dillian has a life and a family out in Portugal. Hopefully, he's made a lot of money, and he's been wise with it. And in doing that, our sport, it can be cruel when it's cruel, the greatest when it's the greatest. I hope he walks away, and I hope he's good enough. But there are fights that are still around that shouldn't be boxing. But it's about your health. It's about, you realise boxing's that in the grand scheme of things when you're out of it. When you're in it, it's the whole world. And you think everybody's into boxing. Now Dillian's got to get on with his life. He's still a young man in his 30s, so he's got the rest of his life to live. So focus on what you want to do. Unfortunately, it's always in your blood. You'll always want to fight. You'll always want to do something. It's in your blood. But hopefully he'll set himself up to do something that'll satisfy and that'll quench his thirst moving forward.
Yeah, and with regards to Moses, obviously you touched on it there, his composure was really good. What do you make of him as a person? Although the interviews he did during the week, even post-fight, he didn't do a lot, but the way he came across, if I can just chuck in there, and I said this to Dom the other day as well, that what I liked about him as a personality, I met him 2-3 years ago before he did any interviews, and I got to see the kind of person he was. I saw him walk into a room full of people, from boxers, trainers, cleaners, staff working in Saudi Arabia, and he went and shook every single person's hand before he sat down, and he meant it the way he did it as well.
So there are very few fighters that can do that and really mean it. I remember Adrian, when he first came on the scene, he was that guy. And then it got to the point where he's like, and AJ will still be the last person in the place taking pictures with people, but then you see the cracks start to form when sometimes he's been in he's come into a situation where yesterday you were calling him a pig to a dog, and he's still got a smile and shake hands with you and be nice with you. So his mannerism, that softness, that boy next door kind of shine had kind of rubbed off a little bit, even though he still does it. So basically what I'm saying is, Moses right now, he's seeing the glory, the glitz of our sport, and now as he gets deeper and deeper into it, people are going to be prying in and commenting on who he is, what he's about, his family, his personal business. And so it's how he can separate himself from what people say and that really don't mean anything to him, than keeping the people around him to keep him grounded, keep him being that person. So time will tell. Time will tell that fame and fortune, will it change him as an individual? I've seen fighters it's happened to. Naz, this young man was an amazing, funny guy. But then I can remember saying to Brendan, has money changed him? He said, no, money's just magnified who he is. And so I hope with Moses, it's about his family. It's about how he's been brought up. It depends on who's in his ear, whose idols are, who the people he looks up to. And so it's just, you see, it's same story, different actors. So I just want to see, so far so good, so far very humble, very down to earth, very patient with people.
Okay, let's see how that story unfolds. But if you was going to pick the right opponent for him next, who would you pick?
Wow. Daniel Dubois. Daniel's still fighting. It's a good fight. A fight there, he's getting someone that's strong, being a former champion, confident, again coming in to win. Daniel Dubois is a good shout. Hrgović, another good shout. I'll probably do Hrgović first before Daniel. Again, there's so many opportunities there. There's even Fabio's there, a good fight, a really good fight that's there. And these are fights that can be made here easily. But you're thinking, well, do you want to spend his time fighting these guys, or do you want to push him straight to the top because he's that talented? He'll be able to manage at the top. You don't know, but there are some great fights out there for him.
Okay, and then you just name dropped him there, Daniel Dubois, who's in the news today. I'll just mention to you the statement that's been released by Daniel Dubois. In fact, before I talk about the statement, it was so recently because I've not seen it since. They've added Sam Jones to the team. What do you make of that? Obviously, the perception from the outside is it's probably done so, to be the spokesperson for the team. Obviously, Dan's not a big fan of cameras, etc. Obviously, we've seen Sam work with a lot of big names. I know he's been working with Conor Benn recently, Naz's sons, Pat Brown, incredible stable. So what do you kind of make of Sam Jones being part of that team?
I do understand. I think maybe it's to be a spokesperson because you need somebody to be an Eddie, to say the things that you wouldn't actually be able to say or sharp enough or smart enough to say. So he needs somebody to just be the mouthpiece out front. I don't understand what other attributes or contribution realistically he can do to it. But then, I don't know what the situation is in regards to Frank, who Frank was kind of a mouthpiece for him and one bit. I don't know in regards to the setup, in regards to what's he needing to do. Because I think the true power behind the throne there is the dad. So any decision has to go through the dad. So obviously the dad's not our license holder, so he's probably said to Sam, I want you to stand there, this is what I want you to say. This is what I want you to do, you do the talking there. So maybe he's just been put in that position by the old man.
What do you think's good about Sam Jones? Because you've got to be doing something right to be able to be working with so many big names.
Sam doesn't care if you like him or if you loathe him. So Sam will take the heat. He's like Eddie. You don't care what you say about him. He'll say things that aggravate you. He'll say things that'll get on your skin. But he'll say things, and he'll be that mouthpiece. He'll say that uncomfortable sentence or whatever, and that's what he's there for. He's there to be shot down, and he'll keep coming back again. So you've got to be thick-skinned, and Sam is just thick-skinned. Again, he's that guy you either love him or loathe him, but he gets the job done. So you want a buffer. He's their buffer.
We saw a statement come out this morning from Daniel Dubois on his Instagram. There's a picture of him and Don Charles watching him on the bags, and he's basically put on there, I want to take this moment to thank Don Charles and his team for all the time, effort and hard work they put into me over the last 18 months. I'm truly grateful for everything. That said, I feel it's time for a change, a fresh approach for the next phase of my career as I push forward to becoming 2 times heavyweight champion of the world. God bless. I'll be making a further statement regarding my new team structure very soon. Initial reaction to Don Charles being relieved?
Well, it was cold. I think it was Spencer Fearon that called it. It was cold. That would be the case. And so, how do you look at it? And Don had been loyal to Team Dubois all the way through. Don, I think he's a good trainer. I don't think he's a strong trainer. And when I say that is as in strong. Put your foot down. Don't take no shit from anybody else outside the camp. That's where he's not strong. I think he's a very smart trainer, and he gets it. He's passionate, but I think some people take advantage of his weakness of being a nice guy, and I think that's what's happened right now. That debacle of, and I understand what he's trying to say, that debacle of it being a gathering or party. I know any trainer worth his salt would never be happy with that. They wouldn't, because it's undermining all the hard work you've done. I don't think Don was a captain of that ship. I think the captain of the ship was the dad. So now, whoever Daniel goes to, it needs to be a strong coach to say, Dad, out. I'm training you. You hired me to train your son. That's my job. You don't come and mess up my work. I don't think Don was strong enough or in a position enough to say that. So let's see in a year's time, or maybe 2 years' time, and he's asked about Partygate. Let's see if the story changes a little bit, because I think once he's been paid, and he's been paid out, hopefully he's been paid out now. Now he's in a position to speak his truth, because I don't think, and even when I went on kind of a podcast with him, and he still stuck by it, and I thought, you've not been paid yet, because you're trying to defend something that fundamentally in our game is wrong, and you've got to try different things. But if you surround yourself with idiots, there's more chance of you being an idiot. If you surround yourself with brains, there's more chance of you being clever. So if Daniel has trained really hard, weeks in, week out, week in, and then it comes to the night of the fight, and he's surrounded himself with people that aren't thinking like him. I'm not saying they're idiots, I'm saying they're thinking like civilians. They're thinking like people that aren't brave to get in there and get smashed in the face. If you're surrounding yourself with people like that, you've got more chance of that rubbing off on you rather than surrounding yourself with people of the same mindset. We're going to war here. You're going there to get a job done. So there's no way in a billion years, anybody, you look at historical, look at wars, look at everything. You're going with like-minded people. You surround yourself with like-minded people. I don't believe deep down in Don's heart, he believed that. But I do believe, you know what, I've got to stay loyal to this cause and try and support and back up what, you know, these guys, the dad's saying, everybody else is saying, because I ain't got paid yet. Now, if he's got paid, trust me, I think his story's going to change slowly but surely as time goes on. Because now you just think, now you can't stand by that by now. But you can't all of a sudden say it straight outright because it'd be quite clear what he did. So we'll see.
Obviously, it's come as a surprise to some people. Like the casual fan may look at this and go, you know, he was British Boxing Board Trainer of the Year after, you know, they had that initial loss to Usyk, but then they rebuilt and had the 3 underdog wins back-to-back, all by knockout. Miller, Hergovich, and Anthony Joshua, which kind of skyrocketed his profile. And obviously, Don Charles ended up becoming Trainer of the Year in the British Boxing Awards, and I think he was very close to winning the Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year as well. Robert Garcia won that, but some people are saying he should have won that. So incredible success. You know, it's almost like a football manager who wins the Premier League and then gets binned off. So, but based on that, what he's done, and obviously he's ultimately been sacked for the Usyk loss. Is it a fair or right decision in your opinion?
No, it's not. It's not a fair decision. It's not a right decision. Again, who was the decision maker? Was it Daniel's decision? I don't believe so. You know, I'm laying it at the door of the father. It's the father's call. So if he thinks he knows what's best for his son, that's his son. Who am I to tell him what's best for his son? I think Don's a very good underrated trainer. I think Daniel gave us a chance, the public a chance, to see how good a trainer Don is. Unfortunately, because this has come about, it kind of puts a kind of shadow over, well, why has he moved him? Why hasn't he moved him? I hope people are wise enough and smart enough to understand this isn't a Don problem. This isn't a Don issue. This is a dad issue. And I'll lay it at the feet of his dad. I'm thinking, you're making decisions for your boy. And clearly, 1 or 2 of the last ones haven't done you any favours. So now you're making another decision. It's up to the old man. I don't think Don's done anything wrong. Yeah, I do. I think the only thing he did wrong was not being strong enough to put his foot down. But he wasn't in a position to do that. And I think financially, now hopefully he's in a position that if he gets a fight coming through, the rules are, I'm the trainer, I'm the coach, you stay out there, this is my job. If you've hired me to do a job, let me do our job, keep out of it. So his only crime is being too nice and too easy with people. And that's it.
Obviously, you suggested the dad's decisions, etc. But would it be fair to say the decisions the dad's made have made his son a multimillionaire and a world champion, headlined Wembley?
Without a doubt. So he's got there. Now keep him there. Your dream is to be the best. And once you get to be the best, you become complacent. Why, I've done it. I'm done. And so that's why most champions don't stay champions for more than 1 or 2 defences, because once they've reached the mountain, that motivation to get there in the first place is gone because they're there. So if you want to be a champion and stay a champion, you've got to make sure you keep that same hunger. You know, you're picking up experiences and wisdom along the way. So when you're there, you think, I know how to stay here now because I've gone through all the experience to get the wisdom. So the dad has navigated him through to that point. So now he's made another move. We'll have to see how time falls in regards to this. You know, and if the move for his son is the best move for his son. Financially, he's done him a great job. And he's moved him to the right place as far as he's concerned. But I need to understand why he's moved him from Don. What is the issue? Because if Don has got him so much success over the last few fights, why are you moving him? What is it? And so you tell me that, then I'll give me some understanding, put some meat on the bones. But I don't understand why you'd move him. So, you know, it's his dad's call. It's his dad. His dad is the one that's making the decisions.
Yeah, you mentioned Spencer Fearon earlier. Just lastly, you know, he did say in a post-fight interview I did with him that the trainers should resign before they're sacked. That's what he said. But obviously Don, from what I can see, hasn't resigned himself. And obviously Kieran Farrell, the other coach, he resigned a few weeks ago. What did you make of that?
Well, there's something happening behind the scenes. And again, Don's a nice guy. And he puts faith in people when he probably shouldn't do. And he probably thought, that's not going to happen to me. And he has. So it's just, that's his only crime. He's let someone take the piss. And that unfortunately, time will tell when he speaks his truth.
Rumoured to be Tony Sims, the next coach. It's not official, but that's the rumour online. What do you make of that decision? And what do you think, if it is true what you're saying in regards to the dad making the decisions, how would Tony Sims deal with that?
Well, I think Tony Sims will be a lot firmer than the dad was, than Don was. So let's see how long that union lasts. Because if him and the dad don't get on, this relationship's soon done. So I think Tony Sims is a good coach. He's a firm coach, and he's got the success because he's been able to do his job. So if there's somebody in there that's affecting him doing his job, it doesn't just affect that his relationship with that fighter. It affects his reputation with all the other fighters he's got. So you can't have somebody undermining the work you're doing in the gym because it's a ripple effect. So let's see how long that relationship lasts, because once the dad starts getting in the way, then there's going to be a problem.
Okay, let's see what happens. Johnny, before we go, we've got a new Boxing King Media WhatsApp group, which I've been plugging away. We did our first giveaway today, and we're going to announce the winner shortly. In fact, if you're watching this, it's probably already been announced in the group. It was an Anthony Joshua limited edition hoodie that the winners won. But I've got another prize. This is going to go out when we hit 500 followers on the WhatsApp group. If you want to follow the WhatsApp group, the link is pinned to the comments of this video. Johnny's going to hold up what we're giving away in this one. So this is a limited edition, only one of a few hundred that were made. Alexander Usyk and Undisputed Game collaboration t-shirt that they made. I think it's a size medium or large. I've only got one. It's brand new, packed up. I'm giving that away when we hit 500 followers on WhatsApp. And again, it'll be a question about Alexander Usyk when we hit 500, and the first person to get it right will win it. So there you go. Alexander Usyk, your best mate, Johnny Nelson. Thank you. Do you still think he was overrated?
Nah, he's done his job now. He's matured like a fine wine, and so he deserves every accolade he's getting.
Would you say that was one of the things you probably got wrong a few years ago?
Yeah, I suppose it's professional envy, jealousy, thinking, damn, I wish I boxed you. I wish you boxed you. But then, no, sorry, I wish you were around when I was around. This 58-year-old man can't mix it with those boys. But you gotta rate Usyk massively. But that's how it is. You gotta fall on your sword, man.
I'm going to see him later today, so I'll pass the message on. Thank you very much.
Respect isn't given, it's earned. In blood.
Undisputed, the Mexican Monster Pack out now.